Quazi here. Recently I came across this quote by Naval Ravikant. The older the problem, the older the solution. See, I've been on this personal development journey for the last 8 years. One of my main goals was to leave my full-time corporate career and manifest time and financial freedom. Now, as I thought about that and what that actually meant for me, I decided on a number to make it more concrete. And that was making 20K a month from living the laptop lifestyle. So like everyone, I tried everything under the sun. I began learning about drop shipping, trading, affiliate marketing, basically taking massive action every single day. But nothing quite felt right. Then the realization occurred to me that maybe I wasn't seeing the right opportunity because I wasn't aligned correctly. Something about me needed to change. I tried all of the mindset work. I did morning routines that are 2 hours long, meditation, affirmations, hypnosis, jumping up and down like a madman, nothing. I was still convinced that this was, an internal obstacle, so, I had to become worthy of my goals first. And I had a gnawing feeling that it really had to do something with how my mind was reprogrammed. See, I was never programmed to be an entrepreneur. I was programmed to be a 9-to-5 corporate slave. I went deep into research mode, and I realized to solve the age-old problem of the mind, I had to find the age-old solution to it. And my search led me to looking at ancient cultures and their teachings. To my surprise, every single culture and old tradition that I looked at mentioned this one thing: the art of visualization. Yoga and Eastern philosophy has mentions of it when they speak of dharana. Taoism mentions visualization to become one with the Tao. Hermeticists use the practice of visualization to abide by the Hermetic principles, as within, so without. Even the ancient Jewish tradition of Kabbalah uses meditation and visualization to become one with God. Everything truly changed for me when I learned how to visualize properly. Over the last 8 years, the plethora of practices that I abided by, religiously did, actually fell apart, with the exception of visualization. Once I really started to master visualization, every single one of my dreams came true. I was able to quit that soul-sucking corporate career I was telling you about to start my own business that I'm actually passionate about and grow it to 7 figures, doing over $1 million a year. I'm excited and energized by it every single day. I was able to grow a YouTube channel to now almost 500,000 subscribers, doing the work that I truly love. I met the woman of my dreams, got married to her, and now we're having a beautiful baby boy together. Some days I just wake up in utter disbelief that, is this really my life or is this just a dream? But I promise you, if you had to master just one technique, how to visualize properly, and you did it consistently for a period of time, you would see changes like this happen as well. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how to effectively visualize and create your own personal visualization system so that you can achieve the goals that you want. There are 3 main parts to this. And by the end of this, I'm going to share with you a free downloadable cheat sheet that will allow you to implement this for yourself. So with that, let's jump right in. So let's understand what visualization is in the first place and why it's so important in moving you the fastest path towards your goals. If you look back into Hermetic teachings, there's a quote that says, "As within, so without." Hermetic work was written 3 to 5000 BC. Hermes Trismegistus was known to be the thrice greatest, meaning he mastered the physical, mental, and spiritual planes of existence. He was known as the god of all gods. And this person came up with Hermetic teachings, and you'll hear the saying that this is hermetically sealed. This has a Hermetic seal on it. That's where it stems from. All of the modern teachings, they stem from the modern personal development teachings. They really stem from Hermetic teachings itself. And in that, there is a mention of the all space, or the all. Everything is contained within the all. So there is this space that contains every possible combination of reality, of quantum events that can be manifested into physical reality. Right now we're streaming one particular version of that reality, and that is dictated by the thoughts that we think and the feelings that we feel. When we visualize, we are attuning ourselves to one particular sector of that all space. If I think and feel a certain way, if I think I am only worthy of the salary that I'm making and the house that I'm living in, I will manifest that. I will experience that in my reality because I will be attuning myself, kind of like the antenna of a television or a radio. I will be attuning myself to that particular reality and thus attract it into my existence. If you look at this concept of outer action, when I go out and physically try to arrange reality by manipulating it, I'm doing things, I'm going out there and exerting tremendous amount of energy to make something happen. Outer action itself is very, very limited. You can only arrange what's in front of you right now. The impact of outer action is direct, a first order consequence. So I can physically handle things that are in front of me in my current reality right now. What do I do to influence outcomes that will be in future possible events farther out? This is where inner action comes in. But also, please understand this. Outer action is a representation of inner action. If I feel a certain way, I will be compelled to act in a certain way. There is the what that I do, but also how I do it. So for example, if I'm making this YouTube video right now and I want to just get it done with, my intention is going to be different than if I come into the attitude of I want to make a really great video that is going to reach a lot of people and is actually going to make an impact. When I think about that, I will approach making this video with a certain level of care. The most fundamental way of thinking most people think is if I do the right things, I will get the right results. That's not necessarily true. If you don't put your heart into it, and if you only put your mind into just doing something for the sake of doing it, your results will just stop there. And it will always be a grind. You'll always be fighting against another part of yourself to do it. This is where inner action comes in. And inner action is when we act internally by creating that ideal scene that we want to manifest into our lives. If you're familiar with Neville Goddard, he was a big proponent of the feeling of the wish fulfilled or manifesting the ideal scene. And that's what we're going to learn about here, because once you fully master that, the art of visualization and the three main parts to it, I can promise you within a very short period of time, you will be able to influence those future upcoming frames that come up and not only act within the confines of your current reality by taking action. With that, let's go right into these three main methods. Method number one. You have to begin with visualizing the reality that you want to create. And by visualize reality, what I mean is you're projecting that ideal scene you want to create in that next moment. Most people, what they do is they're constantly thinking about what went wrong in the past and what they can change right now in this moment. What most entrepreneurs do very well, especially the ones who are successful, they're looking at what they want to create in the next moment. Their vision is very long term, especially if you read into Jeff Bezos' story. He built this clock in a mountain that ticks once every 100 years, and he spent a shit ton of money doing that to symbolize how long term his vision is. Instead of fretting about what didn't go your way yesterday and what's not going your way now, part of becoming a reality creator is understanding this present moment is continually becoming the past. This mishap happened in my business. This thing came up in my personal life. This thing isn't going my way. That's okay. This is already done. Why worry about it? Why keep giving it more energy? Because whatever we give attention to and our energy to, that will keep growing more and more. So instead, why not just direct all of my attention and energy to what I want to create in that next moment? Now we're getting somewhere. This is where projecting or visualizing reality comes in. In particular, there's two main parts you must understand that will help you create and visualize reality. The first part of it is goal visualization. If you're taking notes right now, I encourage you to write this down, okay? Goal visualization pertains to a future outcome that we're going to manifest. And if you want to think about one goal, I encourage you to pick one right now, and it's got to be a goal that you want to create at least within 12 months from now. So to give you an example, when I started off in this journey to try and create financial freedom, I picked the goal of manifesting 20K a month through laptop lifestyle and working from home. But I had no idea how to get there, okay? So that is the outcome that I picked. 12 months from now, I want to create 20K a month. Now, the second part of this visualization process in projecting reality is process visualization. What I mean by process visualization isn't worrying about the how, like how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? It's beginning with what you already know. There's always one step that I know that I need to take in order to get to where I want to get to. So the very fundamental example I can give you is when I initially thought about getting to 20K a month, the immediate thing that came up is I need to study trading and I need to study affiliate marketing. That's exactly what I went out and did. So I looked at all of the resources that I could, or everything that I could find, and I actually visualized myself studying it. This is the key. This is dynamic visualization. So goal visualization is kind of static. It's what life looks like once you've already achieved that goal 12 months from now. Process visualization is dynamic. It's what life looks like once I am in the act of doing the thing that I need to do in order to move one step closer towards the goal. So for many of you right now who are watching this, you may not know how to get to your goal, that next milestone that you want to get to. That's completely all right. What's one step you can take right now that will lead you one step closer towards that goal you want to get to, towards that mountain you want to climb? Visualize that and successfully doing that. A great example I can give you of process visualization is when artists create a work of art, or a mother nurtures her kid. Every single day, the mother focuses on the baby getting better and better and learning to walk or getting better at something. The artist also visualizes her work getting better and better, putting in fine-tuned details. Even though you may not know what that piece of art looks like, you're still focusing on that feeling. Because remember, in order to attune to that correct sector of that all space, we need that heart and mind coherence. So when we feel the associated feelings and we feel that things are getting better and better and it's leading us to that goal that we want to get to, everything that you have, everything that you do, every movement that you make, every breath you take in your daily life gets directed to you, bringing this sector of reality into life. I can't tell you how profound this is. Once I realized this, everything changed for me. Every single step I took, every action that I did was leading me. I had full faith that it was leading me to that goal of 20K a month. I set that goal of making 20K a month in July of 2018, and by August of 2019, I had my first 20K month. By the way, if you went back to me in July of 2018, and if I actually really believed I could achieve that goal, I would have told you, no, I don't believe I can do it. The sector of reality I was operating from was so completely and drastically different from what I wanted to experience. It was completely impossible. I couldn't even fathom it, but I still started with that goal. So whatever goal it is you want to accomplish a year from now, pick it and make it slightly unrealistic. Like I wouldn't have picked like, oh, I want to be a multi-trillionaire by 1 year, 1 month, because that's a little bit too far from my current state of reality. I could maybe fathom doing 20K a month. Maybe, that's still a stretch, right? Pick a goal that's slightly over your comfort zone, because as you practice these two methods, the limits of your comfort zone will expand and you will move towards that. So that's goal and process visualization. The third part to this that completes the trifecta of visualizing reality is intention. So understand we need goal visualization, process visualization, and a firm intention. The resoluteness in my decision to have and to act. There's two types of intentions. We have first what's called inner intention, and second what's known as outer intention. Inner intention is my personal resolve to do something in order to get something. It's what 99% of people go out there and do. That's what 99% of gurus will tell you what to do. Go out there, take massive action, shout on every single fucking social media platform. Go out there and just do, take action, burn yourself down to the ground, do that extra rep. That's what they'll tell you. And don't get me wrong. That's very effective. For 99% of people who are stuck in inaction and apathy and have no momentum, that is going to be effective. But for the 1% of you who want to gain an unfair advantage or like gain an edge and you want to move even faster, you need to combine that with outer intention. And what outer intention is the resolve in my decision to have. When I made the decision to get to 20K a month, I told myself, no matter how it happens, I'm going to have it. It is done. I've already assumed that it's going to happen, and I'm just operating from that end state of that assumption. Imagine this. Imagine I'm here at 0, that Quazi was making 0, and I'm here making 20K a month. There's two selves that I have. If I assume the wish fulfilled, And I'm assuming that I am this version of Quazi who's making 20K a month. And I'm operating from this place. How can I take the Quazi who's making 0 right now and doesn't know what the hell he's going to do with his life? How can I take him by the hand and bring him to the other side? Mentally, that's how I'm operating. Okay, that's how I operated from that point. I assume the state of the wish fulfilled. I assume that I will have it one way or another. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of how does this journey unfold? How does the movie go? Because you already know what the ending of the movie is. The ending of the movie is he makes that money, he achieves that goal. Somehow, one way or another, it happens. What happens in the middle that makes it fun? So that's the difference between inner and outer intention. The goal is, once you know what the outcome that you want to achieve is, once you know certain processes that'll get you there, and by the way, it's not static. Today I may know of this process, but tomorrow I'll have a unique insight on another process to take. I ultimately had the insight of, I must start a YouTube channel and start making YouTube videos. So I started visualizing myself in the process of making really good YouTube videos and feeling really good about the videos that I made. And the videos impacting thousands and thousands of people. And eventually it led to me going from, you can even look back at my oldest video. It led for me to go from 0 subscribers, starting from scratch back in 2018, to growing to 500,000 right now as of making this video. Eventually I had that idea, after I set that goal of 20K a month. You've got to combine the goal process with the intention that you have. And it begins with you acting and doing what's necessary, but then also focusing on the goal of visualizing how it comes into existence by itself without your interference. Somehow, in some way, it happens. I can't tell you the number of times I did something in expectancy that this doing will lead me to achieving my goal, but it happened a completely different way. Has that ever happened to you? You kind of expected that you will do something to get something, but it doesn't happen that way at all. Some other completely different way of you achieving your goal happens. So this is what outer intention is. Outer intention is the intention that belongs to us, but doesn't belong to us at the same time. It's the worldly intention. It unites us with the world. We are co-creating with the universe. So even though you may have your idea on the process that'll lead you to the goal that you want to get to, there is God and the universe who also has their idea of the least resistance possible way for you to get to your goal. Now that you understand this, there's a crucial part to understand that'll move you even faster towards that. That'll kind of complete this. And this is the second part, which is visualizing the ideal self. Let's talk about what I mean by that. Remember when I was speaking of me being here at 0, and then this other version of me being here at making 20K a month? I've just identified that there are 2 different versions of me. This current self and the ideal self who I would like to embody. This is where the ideal self or the 2.0 self comes in. I've found that in my life, every single time I've achieved something, I've become a different person in the process. So I started to ask myself, what if I chose to become that person, that version of myself that I would be right now? What happens to the goals or the things that I want to achieve? And I literally saw that every single area of my life. Fitness, I used to be a really scrawny kid and then I got in the best shape of my life. I was bullied and I was unattractive and then I manifested my wife and now we have a really great relationship. Business, that was the last thing that was keeping me stuck. Wealth. I went from being completely broke, going to 9 to 5, thinking I wasn't worthy and deserving of money, to making over $1 million a year for the last 4 or 5 years. I've seen that in this, I've always made the conscious choice to become a version of myself, that 2.0 version of myself. So the number one thing I want you to do to really understand this is begin with inquiry. What does the version of you who effortlessly achieves this goal, what does that version of you look like? Who would you be if you were effortlessly achieving 20K a month? That's what I ask myself every single day. And remember, in life, it doesn't matter what answers we get. The quality of our lives is directly proportional to the quality of questions that we ask ourselves. So I inquired that every single day until I could get to a point where I defined this ideal self. So what I want you to do right now is do 3 main things. Number 1, define 5 superpowers that this 2.0 self would have. If you were your ideal self achieving this goal that you've defined for yourself, what does that ideal self look like? What 5 superpowers does that ideal self have that you do not possess, or maybe you possess in lower quantities of? Number 2, Define 5 key habits that this ideal self does every single day. What does this ideal self do every single day religiously or practice religiously? And finally, what sense of style does this ideal self have? How do you dress? What kind of clothing do you buy? Do you buy cheap stuff or expensive stuff? Think about this as your opportunity to reinvent yourself without any societal outside influence. If you were completely rebuilding yourself in order to achieve this 20K month or whatever goal you've set for yourself, what do you want when you are being your ideal self? That is the most important part here. Now we're going to talk about how to embody this ideal self in this last and final part. Before I get to that, can you just leave me a comment letting me know what you're thinking about all this, like what your takeaways are right now, if this is helpful for you. It really helps me make better content for you. So let's get right to that right now. In this final part, we bring all of this together and function as that ideal self, that 20K a month version of me in this very moment. And this is in embodiment. And this is probably the most important part, but it does not work if you haven't followed the first 2 parts. Part A of embodiment is when you're conducting tasks, ask yourself, how would the ideal self do this? Remember the example that I gave you? I can do something, but it always matters what intention or what place it's coming from. I can do it half-heartedly, I can do it full-heartedly. Who are you being when you do this? And how would this ideal self conduct this task? For example, if you're working on your business, if you're making a video, if you're writing something in your blog post, if you're speaking to your partner, how would the ideal self show up and do this? That's number 1. Number 2, remember we talked about decisions and intention. Intention is the resolve I have in my decisions. Therefore, decisions really make us shift into different sectors of this alternative space. Think about a fork in the road. If you're presented with 3 different decisions, there's 3 possible outcomes or 3 possible parallel realities that could manifest or quantum events that could manifest. Speaking of that, we know how important decisions are, but the surefire way of you picking that decision that will get you the fastest path towards that goal that you've set is asking yourself one simple question. What would the ideal self do? What would the ideal self pick in this instance? If I were this version of me who's coming to help this current version of myself, which decision would I pick? So we begin with how to do what we're doing and what to pick. Those are the most important ones, and those are sorted. And last but not least, this is what method actors do. Understand that who you pretend to be is who you'll become. If you keep holding that image in your mind of your goal long enough, if you keep pretending to be this ideal self and you keep practicing being this ideal self, at first you're gonna fake it. That's completely all right. I had to fake it in my YouTube videos. You might not be able to tell, but for me, it felt like I was faking it. There were times in my videos back in the day when I was making them, I was so stressed out, so anxious because I quit my job to go all in on my YouTube channel and to go all in on my business. And I wasn't making any money from it. And my parents were disappointed. Every single day, my dad kept harping on me like, when are you gonna make money? Are you actually making money from this? Why did you quit that damn job? You have a degree. And that crushed my soul. That just beat down on me so much. And I was just so stressed. I just remember feeling so stressed and not being able to sleep at night and just thinking about when I was gonna get the next deal and close the next client. And this is the only thing that kept me sane, pretending and acting as this ideal self. Now, don't get me wrong, this could come from a place of resistance, but you accept whatever you're feeling right now and you focus on that next moment. Remember, we're talking about projecting reality. We're talking about projecting this ideal self. In this next moment, who am I choosing to be? So all of this that you're doing requires you to be extremely, extremely conscious. What I want you to do right now is go down to the pinned comments. I've made this free cheat sheet for you. Okay, I've spent a lot of time making this and this video, just planning this out, so I can give you the most value I can. Look, my goal is to help every single human being on earth to master their destinies. And the best way I know how to do that is to work closer with every single human being, but I know I can't do that. A lot of people aren't qualified to kind of work with us because we work mainly with business owners. We've been receiving over 1,000 applications to work with us every single month. Unfortunately, we can only take 25 clients a month. So my hope is you'll use this stuff, tools, to help you grow, get to a certain level when you might be qualified to work with us if you choose to. But regardless, this is my way of helping every single human on earth. So I hope you find this valuable. The link for that cheat sheet. It's completely free for you to download. You don't even need to opt in. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.